and it was unusually cool at training camp this morning. I don't know what kind of divine intervention that was for the Buccaneers. Maybe the old man needs a little bit of a break, and they gave it to Tommy Brady this morning. It was beautiful out there. Welcome in to the JP Peterson Show. Training camp is open. Football season is officially open. The Buccaneers are – sorry about that. Had a little reverb. The Buccaneers are absolutely stocked and ready to go, and I am too. I realized when I was out there this morning, this is my 25th year. 25th year. So that's my silver anniversary covering your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And good morning to you, Nick Geddes from Outsider.com. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for your service. 25 years to the community. I mean, yeah. Scott had the 20-year anniversary. Got the alarm clock jersey.
Yeah, I don't see where's mine.
I think you deserve one. I don't think you want the alarm clock one.
No, thank you.
We've established this week you don't want the throwback one.
I'll take a frame 12. That's fine.
A frame 12.
Yeah,
your best friend.
I'll take a frame 20. Cool. Can I do 20 and a 55?
There you go.
Yeah, that'll be fine. Look, it's so funny. I was talking to a bunch of the old guard out there this morning, talking to Tukes over at Channel 13. He's been there 30. This is his 35th camp. 35th camp. So yeah, but it's just like the first one. It's like the first day of baseball. So much fun to be out there, and we'll give you all the sights and sounds here coming up in a minute.
I have to imagine covering these training camps with Tom Brady at quarterback is probably a little bit better than some of the other camps that you've been to in the past.
Don't we start naming off some of those guys?
I mean, I was going to start naming names, but I know you're friends with some of these guys, so I don't want to go too far. But
yeah,
at least some names I really don't want to remember.
It's been a long and interesting journey, no doubt about it. Yeah, we should get into that one day. Just the historical. That's a great idea for one of our shows. I'll bring on all the old guard, and we'll just swap stories, training camp stories of years past, because there's some good ones. I can tell you that. But yeah, we'll get right into it. And by the way, quickly on the show today, we'll do some college football with Scott Carter, who was at the SEC meetings last week, covers the Florida Gators, so FloridaGators.com. We'll chat with him. And our Wednesday staple now, we're going to talk to PGA professional John Gerber, who is a professional golf gambler. And we're going to make you some money. So we'll do his picks each and every Wednesday. Won't be a long segment, but we'll get some money in there. And I'm literally going to establish a unit and bet all of his bets, and we'll see how far we go. And I encourage you guys to do the same thing. But this is all about a quick word about our Rays before we get into the Bucs. I was really invested last night. It's one of the few nights I've been able to sit down and really kind of watch games, not doing a whole bunch of other stuff. And boy, was I just horribly disappointed at the way Kevin Cash handled that. And you could see it coming a mile away. I mean, you could see it coming down the tracks. I'm sitting there checking out his pitch count going, he's going to pull him. I thought he was going to pull him after 6, to be honest with you. He was at I think maybe 70 pitches after 6. And then had a short 7th inning. I'm like, oh, okay, well maybe, but no, you knew it was going to be some, I want to say slapdick prospect, but not even a high leverage guy coming out. And Colin Poche comes out and just gives up the booty, and all of Shane McClanahan's great work, and he was great last night. 22 swings and misses, 7 innings, 2 runs, 2 hits, only the solo shots to give up. And you're going to bring in a guy that's an average pitcher at best when you've lost 3 in a row, and then you end up losing 4 in a row now.
I feel like we've been over this so many times. And this happened, 2 weeks ago when we came on here and I said, I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to shout. This is what they do. I'm not going to question it. But, when you're in a 3-game skid coming out of the All-Star break right now, things are getting tight. Toronto's on a 7-game win streak. You're starting to lose ground in the wild card race just a little bit. Yeah. You're facing teams here that you're competing with directly. You got the Cy Young with statistically the greatest stat line, one of the greatest stat lines in the history of baseball in the first half on the mound. He's given up 2 hits, 2 solos. That's it. And 81 pitches. 81 pitches.
And this is coming off the All-Star break, where obviously he started the All-Star break, but he only threw 20 pitches? Yeah. He's probably thrown coming this game 20 pitches in the last 8 days?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Come on.
When was the last time he pitched before this? Like, what was it, the Thursday before the All-Star game?
I think it was the last day before the All-Star. No, that's right, because he was on
like
regular rest.
It was like the Thursday.
Yeah, it was
or
on
the
regular
Wednesday,
rest. Yeah.
So it's been a while since he started a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Started a real game. I mean, and pitched into the game. Yeah. Could not be more. And I watched Orestes Destrada say after the game and about it's not just the pitching, it's the ups and downs. It's the ups and downs. And that's a thing. No doubt about it. They watched that as well. But, again, this is where it gets really frustrating for a lot of us, where analytics meets, the baseball knowledge that Kevin Cash has garnered over, all these years playing the game and managing the game. And you would just hope that he would have the freedom to say, oh, he's at 81 pitches. We've lost 3 in a row. Bullpen used that could be debatable. Go with your horse. I mean, here's a chance to let him complete a game. Complete a game. Imagine him throwing a complete game, for God's sakes. And there's a chance he doesn't even go over 100 pitches to do it.
And you know what the difference is?
Or at least go 8 and bring in Adam.
And you know what the difference is? The 2 best pitchers in baseball this year have been Shane McClanahan and Sandy Alcantara over in Miami.
Yeah.
Okay. I understand Alcantara maybe has pitched maybe a year and a half more than McClanahan has. I get that. That guy has gone 8 innings, I think like 9 or 10 times this year.
Yeah.
The Marlins just let him go.
Because he's the second best pitcher in baseball. Yeah.
Because he's shoving, and it's foolish to take somebody out when they're shoving.
What's shoving? That's a new one on me.
You don't know shoving?
No.
Like he's pitching great.
Yeah, I've not heard that.
I'll
take that.
Check your sheet.
Add that to my.
Write it on there.
Check your sheet. Add that to the boomer vocabulary.
Yeah.
He's shoving. I like that. He's shoving it right up there. Whether flupus.
There you go.
That's what he was doing. And McClanahan was dominant last night. And again, when you make a move and the other side is happy, that was not a good move. So we'll get to play that later, but I want to get into the Bucs. We'll get back to the Rays in a little bit, but I want to get to the Bucs here. So of course, I wanted to see all the new guys out there. And, here's the free agent class, by the way, for the Bucs this year, because I think it's instructive now to go over kind of how we got here. Akeem Hicks, who is just a giant of a man, by the way, and looks fantastic. Shaq Mason, number 69, Gronk's favorite number out there. Honestly, I remember Shaq being bigger than I saw him today. He is not as when he was at Georgia Tech, I think he played at like 340 maybe. He looks like he's much more svelte than that, and that's a good thing, by the way, because he's a powerful man. You don't need to worry about that. And also, they weren't in full pad. So Julio Jones was not out there, but obviously he's going to be probably tomorrow or the next day. But he'll be there. Logan Ryan, and we haven't talked a whole lot about it, but we have. Logan Ryan and Keanu O'Neal will be very interesting additions to the defense. Russell Gage, wearing number 17 out there, looking good. He is a very natural route runner and catcher of the football. He looked, watching 12 throw to 17 was nice today. That was kind of cool. Got some video of that. Kyle Rudolph wearing the number 8, the single 8.
I love the way the 8 looks on the guy.
Looks great.
And by the way,
makes him look slim and fast.
I was going to say, in the photos, I don't know why, I feel like he used to be maybe a little bit more chunkier. He looks a much more like an athletic hybrid tight end right now.
Now, I'm going to say something. Now, and I know everybody's going to take it the wrong way, but this is the truth. He's faster than Gronk and quicker out of the break than Gronk right now. Just to my eyeball test, what I saw last year and what I saw from Rudolph today, of course, his legs are completely fresh and he hasn't done anything in training camp. But that guy, he could blow. I mean, if you're looking for an old creaky guy, I remember the first time I saw Gronk out there, and I was like, wow, he looks really slow in training camp. And this was, obviously a couple of years ago. So I'm not going to sit here and say that he's Gronk. I'm not saying that. Gronk is all about the intangibles with him and his connection with Brady. But I'm just saying the guy looks good. He's in fantastic shape, and he runs an effortless stride for a 265-pound man. So he looked really, really good just in terms of his athletic ability. So I was pleasantly surprised by that. Devin Tompkins, by the way, is very small but very fast. He is lightning quick. Watching him just run some slant routes. So some of the new guys, you just like to see the new numbers out there, and then, you're reminded that it's all about 12. It's all about 12. And his arm strength is just, already, you've got 4 young quarterbacks. Right, not young. Blaine Gabbard's 31, 32 years old. He still has the zippiest arm of all of them. He still does.
I noticed
45 years old.
Oh, I noticed that at camp last year. You watch Brady throw, and then when you watch Gabbert throw, it's like, okay, that may be a tip off, or maybe it's even.
And he's considered to have a strong arm. Yeah.
And then you see like Kyle Trask, and I'm like, oh my, that's not even close. That's not even close to Brady.
Right.
And then Ryan Griffin, forget about it. So yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to ask you. I'm like, how's the arm strength looking? Because I feel like every year we have to have the discussion about how the arm strength is.
Looks great. Looks great.
Well, that's what I heard when I was reading it.
There was a couple, deep outs that he ripped, and a couple over the middle. There was a deep ball as I was leaving, deep ball to Cyril Grayson, who made a one-handed catch for a touchdown. That was beautiful. Carlton Davis had an interception on a tip ball off of Brady. So just a couple of the highlights, but you look for guys, and I'll say this: Leonard Fournette weighed in at 245 pounds. And just, as the running backs were doing, they were doing different drills, taking handoffs and with a little bit of burst and then shutting it down. Lenny was kind of shutting it down earlier than the younger guys, just because the younger guys look a little bit more eager. But there's no doubt that's training camp Lenny, because there was no burst.
No burst.
There's no burst. He was not, and he wasn't. He's not trying to burst, nor should he try to burst at this point. He has nothing to prove at this point at camp. But if you're looking for a svelte guy with burst, that's not him right now. But it doesn't have to be him right now. I'm not going to feed into this crazy narrative that he's out of shape and it's going to be an issue on day one. Let's see how camp goes for a couple of weeks. When we get into some of the competitive reps with the Miami Dolphins and the Titans, we'll see how that looks. But right now, I'm not getting all crazy about this.
Yeah, we'll see how he comes when we get to game time, and I think he'll be fine. I was going to ask, did we get the weight of Vita Vea? Because I saw a picture of him. Maybe it's just like you don't see him for a whole year, and every time you see him, you go, golly, that guy's huge.
Yeah.
Does he look any bigger? And I'm not saying it's a bad thing if he's bigger.
I kind of thought he looked a little smaller.
He looked a little smaller?
Yeah.
He's just a naturally big man.
Yeah.
Every time I see him, I'm like, golly, man.
Yeah, I'm not really concerned about his weight.
No, I'm not concerned. If he's bigger, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I'm just in awe. I just kind of get like him and Akeem Hicks being next to each other. I still can't wait to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, we obviously have not talked about the addition of Julio Jones yet. And, I had the opportunity to cover him 2 years when I was working with the Falcons in 14 and 15. And, Julio, he wasn't there today, so you don't know what kind of shape he's in. But I will say this about Julio. He is the ultimate teammate, and he's an egoless player. For a guy that has accomplished what he has accomplished, a first ballot Hall of Famer, no question, in the argument for top 5 receiver in the history of the game. I think a 91-yard average is, I think, the best of any active player
in NFL history.
NFL history. I mean, he's and it's just the way that he will mold into this team even though he's a superstar, he's not bringing any entourage. He's not bringing a lot of media because he doesn't cultivate that at all. He's very much a Mike Evans type of receiver, super productive, best teammate, will not bitch about not getting the ball, all about team. He's coming here to win a ring and do whatever he can. And he's not going to be counted on to be a number 1, 2, or even 3 receiver. He's going to be asked to do something, I think, early in the season as insurance for Chris Godwin. And he's not the 4-3 guy that he used to be, not even close, but he still is a huge man. He is a big man. He's a legit 6'3", 240 pounds. When he was playing for the Falcons at his prime, he was at 245 pounds. The guy runs he can still run pretty well. But the thing that doesn't go away is that catch radius in those hands and that ability to even get separation at this point of his career. So I don't expect him to, be leading the league in receptions, but when he's going to be counted on early in the season, I think they're going to find a niche for this guy. And if you go 4 wide now, you're going to get it, and you want to run the football, you're spreading out the defense and you're getting 4 blockers on the outside that are willing guys that can do it. And the guys in the slot that can do it as well. And I think we might see a lot of that formation, because if you don't have an inline tight end that you really feel, not to say that Kyle Rudolph can't block, and the coaches say that Cam Brady has become a much better blocker. Listen, I think this is nothing but a positive for this team. And anytime you have a guy of that character and leadership in that locker room, that's a plus. I can't say enough good things about Julio Jones. This guy will help this team in terms of, I think it's very much of a Richard Sherman type ad, but with a little less fanfare, if you will, because he just doesn't. He's not going to be a guy that's doing a lot of interviews and doing a lot of talking. I don't think he's really comfortable doing it, to be quite honest. He's a very quiet man, but when he speaks, his words have meaning, and he's going to carry himself that way. And that's a huge plus for this team.
Yeah, I actually wrote about this yesterday for Outsider.com, and I likened it to the Antonio Brown signing from 2 years ago, because it kind of I know they came at different times of the year, but it's a similar thing, right? Antonio Brown came in because they needed insurance in the wide receiving group, right? They needed another healthy body in there because they had injuries going on. It's kind of the same thing right now. They have some guys who maybe are nicked up going into the season. You got a guy that can come on, hasn't won a ring yet, and can come in for a little bit of a lesser deal and understand that I'm not going to be the number one guy anymore, and that I'm probably not a number one guy anymore, or even a number two guy anymore. The difference, though, and we've touched on this, Antonio Brown came with his own set of issues. Julio Jones comes in with his own, and it's, can he stay on the field? Because you're bringing a guy in to be kind of that insurance policy, but in the same vein, he's only played in 19 games the past 2 years. And the hamstrings for him, I have to question where he's at. And that's what we talked about Julio Jones, I think, on the Monday show.
Yep.
And I mentioned at the time, I mean, I wasn't really all in on him because I was just like, I don't know, I just can't count on him being healthy. But then again, once you sign him and you put pen to paper, it's like, okay, Julio Jones is on the Bucs now.
Yeah.
And it's a sign from the Bucs that they're just not messing around this year.
Yeah.
They're not messing around. They're getting grown-ups in the building.
Yeah, that's the
big thing. You look at every single position group, there is a grown-up in there. There's no time for immaturity.
Grown-ass man.
There's no time for immaturity. There's no time for people who are all about me. There's just a whole cohesive unit of guys who have won a lot of things or guys who are trying to win something. And I think that plays well for perhaps Tom Brady's last season here in Tampa Bay.
Yeah. And that's, back to the beginning and back to 12. This offseason has been all about 12. I mean, we were thinking at one point, we're coming to this camp thinking, oh my God, it's going to be Blaine Gabbert and Kyle Trask out there. Now look, if Tom Brady didn't re-sign here, I'm fairly confident that the Bucs would have gone out and maybe swung a deal for Jimmy Garoppolo or somebody else. Or maybe they would have gone with Blaine Gabbert. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. TB12 is here, and he is going to be, I think, he knows this is, come on, this is his last season. You got a $365 million contract waiting for you at Fox. They don't give you that kind of money and hold the chair open if it's some open-ended, I'm going to play till I'm 50 type deal. I don't believe that for 1 second. He's moving on with his life. I think there's no question about it. For Giselle, it's probably 2 years longer than it needed to be. So if he wants to stay married, this better be his last season. So I'm treating it like that. And this is his last training camp. This is his last everything. And if you don't think he's going to give it every bit of gusto that he has, you're crazy. And just think about where we've gotten to. I'm looking out there and I'm looking at the players on the field and the offensive line, bringing Ryan Jensen back, getting Fournette back, which I think was huge. Did we overpay? Probably, but I still think it's huge. The guys that we've drafted, I think, watching Rashad White out there this morning. I mean, the guy is smooth. He's smooth. He's going to push Leonard Fournette. Sneak Vaughn looks like that kid has got some burst to him. I know you don't like him, but I mean, when you watch the running backs burst, he's got some burst. Even Giovanni Bernard looks like he's got some burst as well. But here's the bad thing about older players. They get hurt.
Yeah.
But older players are also very productive. And I like, especially on defense, these guys are playmakers. Logan Ryan and Keanu Neal, these guys are playmakers. And that's what this defense needs, more plays. They need to take the ball away more than they do, get more interceptions. They've done a nice job causing fumbles. And listen, the pass rush has been really good. It needs to be as good or better. I think Shaq Barrett can have a better year. I think the pass rush can be better this year without JPP and Ndamukong Suh. It's younger, it's faster, it's quicker. You've got some of these guys coming from the secondary that know how to rush the passer. So there's so much to be excited about this team. When you get out there and you watch it and you look at this team, they are freaking loaded.
Yeah.
Loaded. And by the way, with the signing of Julio Jones, the Bucs have moved to the top of the Caesars list in the NFC. They are once again the favorites to win the NFC, second best choice to win it all.
I mean, throw the names out there. We talked about last year's team, how many Hall of Famers are on last year's team. And my God, if they didn't add a couple to this year's team.
Yeah.
I mean, it really comes off as one of those like classic dream teams that we used to talk about in the NBA. I mean, look at the names that I'm Tom Brady, Julio Jones, Mike Edwards. What did I just say?
Mike
Evans, Chris Godwin. I mean, Tristan Wirfs, probably earmarked for the Hall of Fame. Ryan Jensen. I mean, Shaq Mason, Levante. I haven't got to the defense yet. Levante David, Vita Vea, Carlton Davis, Akeem Hicks, Shaq Barrett. I mean, this is an all-star cast of a group here that the Bucs have. It really is. And I know we're always going to say, well, barring any injuries, this should be your Super Bowl champion by the end of the year if all goes to plan, right?
Right.
And of course, something's going to happen. We all know they're not going to make it the entire year without having at least a couple injuries, some nicks. But like Jason Licht has proven, if something happens, he's going to be quick on his feet to rectify it.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, they just officially signed Julio Jones to the 1-year deal. That was announced by the Bucs 2 minutes ago. We didn't get the number still. And
it's not going to be much.
It's not going to be much.
It's not going to be much.
And I say that knowing, do you still leave the door open for you know who?
Yeah, I think absolutely. They still have money for Gronk. They'll figure it out. If Gronk wants to come back, they don't have to do anything, and they can still fit him under the cap right now.
Yeah.
So, and I firmly believe, I still, gun to my head, he's coming back. He's coming back. So, it'll be after training camp, but I still believe he's coming back. This team is loaded, and Bruce Arians was out there as well, wearing a big old hat. And he's definitely engaged and working.
I heard he had a play sheet as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you don't go to, if you're going to stick around, you don't go to from head coach to just nothing.
Well, this just shows this goes back to like the whole theory when he retired about how this was all this animosity. And I'm like, look how involved he is. He's still holding a play sheet. He's talking to Tom at practice. He's talking to Coach Bowles. His office is 2 doors down. He's involved. Of course he's involved here.
Look, this team, and we've talked about this as well from a philosophical thing. And by the way, the first team period that they ran this morning, you know what they ran?
What?
About 7 straight run plays.
There you go.
Now, I'm not saying, maybe it was just time to practice the running game, and that's what they were doing. But then they started mixing in some passing plays as well. The point being, and I think this is one of the reasons that Bruce Arians, may not, I won't say may not be the head coach anymore, but there was a definite feeling that this is not the Arians offense anymore. This is not the no risk it, no biscuit offense. And certainly this year more than last year. They want more balance. And I think that's, I think Bruce Arians kind of looked at it and said, look, man, they're not really running my offense. They're not running my defense. And certainly, I mean, I can bring value as a head coach, but why not? Why not step away now and practice what I preached all my career about giving guys opportunities and minority players? And, I think one of the reasons that people, especially at ESPN, by the way, you still see ESPN talking about how Brady forced Bruce Arians out. Because they don't want to accept the narrative that somebody could open the door for a black head coach and promote that, especially an older white man. You don't want to, promote that narrative whatsoever. They're all about dividing people, so they don't want to promote that narrative whatsoever. But that's what happened. That's what happened, and those are the facts. And Bruce Arians could still be the head coach if he wanted to be, but he knew when Tom Brady came back that's not something he wasn't going to bring tremendous value in terms of being a head coach, in terms of doing X's and O's, because that's just not it's not his offense anymore, to be quite frank. It's the Brady offense and the Leftwich offense.
Yeah, but good to see him out there and to show him and to be there. And Tom Moore as well. I saw was out there, 83 years old, still doing this. Yeah. And I'm sure he enjoys coming to work every day, being around these players. So from everything I've heard, it's been a great day one of Bucs training camp. Everybody's kind of excited. I did want to tell you here that Todd Bowles is speaking right now. I don't know if you wanted to go live.
Yeah, let's take it. Let's take it. No, let's take it live.
We can take live. Jump in here.
Let's hope so.
Was that something like a key factor for you guys in looking at these new additions, like how we got like Julio Jones production in the red zone?
No, they're more or less good football players. Tight ends get a lot of balls because you're doubling the wide receivers, so that's a natural thing. But these two guys are good football players in their own right, whether it's in the field or in the red zone.
Anybody not show up today, Todd, that you expected?
Everyone's here.
Circling back to OTAs and minicamp, you mentioned Devin Tompkins that you were going to have an eye on him. Has he already started to impress you, even though it's just day one?
Day one, not yet. I mean, I got to look at the film. Right now, we're just running around getting acclimated again. We're going to ramp up, so we're getting pads and everything's going to really start up. But mentally, he's been doing his job, so I'm happy with that.
What do you expect realistically for Julio to come in and do? Obviously, new team, he wasn't with you in this offseason. So now that's official, if he can start tomorrow, like what in terms of like speeding him up in his process, what do you expect out of him?
He's got to learn the system, number one. He's been in a bunch of systems right now. He's a pro. He's going to learn it. It's probably just the terminology. And his health has been an issue in the past, and he's healthy right now. So we're going to monitor that and keep it up and make sure he can help us.
In the summer about Leonard Fournette's conditioning. How do you think he looked today, first day back?
Leonard looked good. I don't know too many players in the offseason that's going to stay in shape year-round. As long as they're in shape in training camp, he ran great in the test yesterday. He's explosive. He's quick, and we're happy with him.
This is day one, but how are the players kind of faring with the heat? Because I know that's always a thing, especially with the
it
newer
was
players.
cold out there today.
Today's been a little breezy, so this has been a good day.
I needed
Talk to me
a
about 5 or
sweater
6
this
days.
morning.
I have a better answer for you.
What was your message to the team before you guys started practice today?
Just focusing on the details, having some recall from OTAs and minicamp, playing smart because we're at the pads on the first day, and understanding, although we're competing, we have to understand we're on the same team. So we're not going to tolerate too much fighting and fist fighting and everything. But I thought the guys did a good job of handling practice today.
How would you say the approach takes from an attitude standpoint?
The attitude's been great. I mean, we got a lot of leaders in that locker room, coaches as well. So the attitude's been great, and we don't have a problem with that.
What was it like for you, Todd, shifting your focus between defense and offense?
It's always on defense, so I can see things on offense and point things out if I have to, but I'm a defensive coach. Byron runs the offense. You know, when it's time to manage things and do things, I have a lot of people in my ear. I trust myself to make the right decision.
How's Russell Gage?
Russ looks great. He came back in great shape, and we're happy to have him moving.
What organizational changes have you made, philosophical, managerial, since your time with the Jets? Now it's like coach of the Bucs.
We might be here for 24 hours. You know, it's just a matter of understanding what you're getting before it happens. You know, when you're a first-time head coach, no matter what they tell you, there are some things that's going to happen that you're going to have to deal with, that you're not sure about, making decisions that you have to make them on. Understanding, having seen everything, understanding my strengths, my weaknesses, understanding everybody around me is different because I've been here for 3 years, you know, and I didn't have to build a staff and then get acclimated to the building or anything else like that. So that part, you know, from a camaraderie standpoint, that's been great. So that's really, it really feels like it hadn't changed for me.
Does it feel, I would assume, maybe like light years ahead when you say you're not building a staff? I mean, it's almost like so much is the same. So when you go back to that first week, maybe with the Jets, your first training camp, I mean, how much more comfortable and easier does this feel when you don't spend the time having to build those things?
I think I was comfortable then. It's just a matter of having to redo a playbook, teaching coaches what you want and how they want it done, and going through that whole thing. We've all been together for a while now, if not just here, just other places. So it's a lot easier from a continuity standpoint, and we have great leaders as coaches on our staff. So that helps out a lot.
There's already a competitive wide receiver room, and you have guys, good football players on that side. So why this late did you feel with Godwin's help? What made you feel like you needed to add a Julio Jones on the eve of training camp?
If you look at last year, we got beat up pretty good in the receiver room, and we kind of limped to the finish line at the end. So if you wait till midseason, you're not going to get a good football player. You're going to be grabbing guys. So Jason's very smart. We're going to do the smart thing and try to get a lot of depth now, so we don't have to stumble or hit a rock on the way trying to win some ball games. And we got people that can step in that know how to play.
He was healthy coming in. He didn't get to practice.
It's a great answer. Great philosophy.
How crucial was that to get him on the same page?
I think it's very crucial to get on the same page as the quarterback. You know, we'll see about the reps as he goes, but if he can get on the same page, and I know he's a pro and he's a heck of a guy, just talking to him out there and playing against him, we can get him on the same page. You know, you don't have to spell anybody. You know, if Mike and Chris come out and Russ and Julio go in, or we run 3 wides or 4 wides or whatever we do over there, it's an added luxury, and we still have young guys that can still play, that got to compete too. So we have a lot of competition this camp, probably more than we've had since I've been here. And it's when you become a good team, you're going to have a lot of competition. So there's going to be some tough decisions to be made.
How's Devontae moving to you? How's he moving around?
He's moving around fine. He's healthy. He looks the same.
There's no replacing Rockford County, right? Future Hall of Famer, but with this Tyler Young brings to the team.
He brings intelligence. He brings toughness. He brings savvy. And he's played the game for a while. So he gives us an extra guy. He can block. He can catch the ball. He's a very, like I say, you're not going to replace Gronk. We got to do that in a variety of ways, whether it's running back, the other tight ends, the receivers. We got to replace his catches in other ways, but he brings us a veteran presence, understanding the ball game, and he learns fast, so he'll help us on Sundays. Oh, definitely. Yeah, he looks good.
Other teams are dealing with legal issues, contract issues, distractions. How thankful are you to have this camp and have a total focus?
We talked about yesterday.
That's a great job by the front office, getting these guys signed up and getting them in. You don't have to worry about that stuff, and nobody has to read anything about somebody holding out, and we've got continuity going in. We just got to keep that up and build culture and chemistry in this camp. I think we'll be fine.
Bruce would run 2 practice fields with the younger guys and the other guys at the same time. So what's your philosophy in terms of just having 1 practice field and everybody concentrating on that?
Normally, I like 2 practice fields, but a lot of guys got a lot of work in phase 2 and OTAs that were younger, and we were a little short at tight end for a little while. So going 2 fields kind of put a damper on it. We realized how long the season was last year, so 1 field would probably be better, ramping these guys up as opposed to going full bore before we get rolling. These guys run out of gas in the middle of the season.
On the defensive side of the ball, you made some additions in D-line, in the secondary. On paper, is this the most talented defense you've fielded since you've been here in 2019?
Since I've been here, it's been close. I mean, JPP and Sue were talented. It's hard to replace those 2 guys as well. Jordan was talented. We had a defense in Dallas that was pretty good back in 07, I want to say, 06, 07. That was very good. But, again, talent doesn't mean nothing if the chemistry doesn't come together. But all of them work hard, and they're getting to know each other, so we expect that to grow every week.
Competition. How did Kyle Trask look to you today?
Kyle's been working hard. Kyle works his tail off. He's getting it down. He's more confident because he's getting more reps. And the more he plays, the more confident he looks. And we'll get a good look at him this preseason. But I'm happy with his progress.
Coach Rick's got all over the defensive and offensive side of the football. One area that might be a little shallow is outside linebacker, edge rusher. Is that an area you're looking to
edge rusher
maybe add to through free agency? And how have you been impressed by Elijah Ponder's transformation?
Well, we got 4 guys that can play right now that have played in Joe and Shaq and Nelson and then Cam. Ponder's reshaped his body to go from a defensive lineman to an outside backer. He dropped a lot of weight. He looks good coming off the edge right now. Again, we're not looking to add, but if something falls in our lap that we think can help us and fit right in without messing up the chemistry, we'll take a look at it.
You mentioned that Leonard looks good and everything. Do you feel right now that the body composition is where it needs to be, or are you wanting to see up a little
Leonard
bit?
Fournette body composition.
I feel like he's in great shape right now. Obviously, everybody can get in a little better shape. You don't want to come into camp in tip-top shape. You want to get in some better shape, playing shape as you get into camp. So that naturally is going to drop about 4 or 5 pounds. Not just him, but we have several guys like that, which is only natural. But as far as running the ball and playing in games, he can play right now. Thanks.
Todd Bowles, day 1 after training camp, hitting on a couple of things there. He talked about, he said what we talked about yesterday, that this is going to be the most competitive training camp that he's had since he's been here. And I totally agree. We ran down all the different areas, and that more than anything makes your team better. I mean, when you have guys that are sitting in their starting positions and they know they're not going to be challenged, it's just human nature. You're not going to work as hard. So I love the fact that almost every guy on this team, with the exception of obviously Brady, Wirfs, Jensen, Donovan Smith, Vita Vea, and those guys, you never worry about their work ethic.
Yeah. I mean, the wide receiving group is one that we've talked about a lot. And, bringing Julio Jones in there, I will say, it makes it to where you have your first 4 set, right? And then you have about 6, 7 guys competing for 2 spots.
Yeah.
And you look at the names on there. It's Scotty Miller, It's Jalen Darden,
who was running with the ones today, by the way.
Yep.
Scotty Miller,
Tyler Johnson, Brashad Perriman, Devin Tompkins, Cyril Grayson. These are all guys who probably could all be in, regular and most other teams, they're going to be in that top 6. No doubt about it.
Hell yeah.
And so
every team in the league is looking at this roster right now, wondering who we're going to cut.
Yeah. And I think that kind of is a message to those guys like, hey, you guys had your opportunity last year, in the biggest moment. Maybe that's not fair to you, but when your moment comes, you got to be ready.
Yeah.
And those guys just were not ready last year.
Well, Grayson made some big plays.
Yeah, and he got hurt.
And then he got hurt.
But I think I'm mostly saying that about the Dardens and the Tyler Johnsons of the world.
Oh, yeah.
I think those two are the ones that I think probably are looking at themselves right now like, shit, I got to ramp this up.
Yeah, Julio, Jiminy Christmas. Now what?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of spots there open.
And the other thing too that he said, and I think it was Ira Kaufman who asked the question about all around the league, there's holdouts
everywhere.
There's drama. There's this and that. If the only drama going on around the Bucs right now is everybody talking about if Brady's falling off a cliff, I think we'll take that because we know that
anybody talking about that.
There's always going to be people talking about that. There's always
outside noise.
That's what I'm saying.
I hope that's the national narrative.
If that's the only narrative.
Please make that the national narrative because that will fire his ass up.
Yeah, but I'm like listening to Ira ask that question and the answer. I just think again, it's just crazy how in a span of 2 years, the Bucs have the best culture in the NFL.
And this is with a new coaching. I won't say staff, but a new head coach.
The new head coach,
a new head coach, and it's like zero change. I mean, the continuity continues with a new head coach. Imagine that. So yeah, who's that? Levante David.
Yeah, we can jump in here if you want.
Let's take a little bit of Levante David.
If you in this defense, you definitely can help.
Are there any goals for you and Devin White just to kind of
Levante David was in my dreams this week. Really showed up in a dream. It's good karma.
Yeah, for sure. That's all the time, man. Every year is something different. So every year you gotta work on something different with the person you playing with. So you just still gotta fill each other out because they maybe see something different the way you see it. So we just gotta be on the same page as that. But overall, man, I feel like we're the best, and I feel like we're gonna continue to try to dominate the way we play. And I feel like we complement each other well, and it's a standard that we set when we out there on the field. We just gotta be the best when we out there.
There's something every year. Is there something specific you guys are working on this year to kind of get better at as well?
Probably just when the ball is thrown, things like that. Going back to the open field tackling and stuff like that. When the ball is thrown, understand how offense is attacking us, making sure we get to our spots and break it on the football quicker.
Development of KJ Britt and how much you think his role might
KJ Britt's development.
Yeah, KJ was one of the guys who I was very impressed with. A lot of people around the building. KJ improved immensely because with me being out for the offseason, he had a lot of time to go in with the ones and work with Devin. So watching him grow and watching him understand the defense and more getting a chance to play faster. So it's definitely an improvement to see, man. Also the younger guys, man, a lot of those guys coming in and kind of stepped up right away, and it's good to see.
Offense and defense. And he said, my focus is always on the defense.
Sure.
What have you noticed different about him watching your defensive coordinator now in the role?
He's more chill now. I mean, he's just watching back, sitting back and observing everything. He's not saying much, on the defensive side and on the offensive side, but he's just more observing, letting the coaches coach. Years prior, he was all in, trash talking, messing with people and stuff like that. So it's not a lot of that going on, but it's only the first day, so we're going to see how the rest go.
Talking about Sue and JP.
Obviously, having those two guys, man, leadership, big thing. Those guys, what they brought on the field and off the field as leaders is going to be hard to replace. But it gives guys like opportunity for guys like Carlton Davis, you know what I'm saying? And then adding Akeem Hicks and Vita and Will Golson, those guys, we always say you don't have to be a captain to be a leader. So those guys, it's a lot of leaders out there on that field. And a lot of guys we got faith in step up and fill the role of those two guys.
Don't forget about Logan Ryan too.
Do you feel like you got more athletic as a defense, faster maybe with Joe on the field more, maybe even with the rookie coming?
Yeah, I would say more. I would say so. Joe, what he brings to the game. He's more versatile. You can move him around, get him, put him in different places to have mismatches and one-on-ones with certain people. And then, I feel like we was already athletic already. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I guess you can. The only thing with Joe, just you could move him around more. Put him in different situations and give him mismatches.
There's a Levante David right there talking about, this defense was already athletic. I don't think it's, you go across the board. It is a very athletic defense, but I do think it gets faster. But you lose the experience and the savvy of JPP and Ndamukong Suh, which is, don't underestimate that. But I think there's a lot of still experience on this defense. You get two very experienced inside linebackers along, he mentioned Will Golston. I haven't talked a lot about him, and Will Golston had maybe his best season of his career last year and is just getting better and better and better. And he and Anthony Nelson. So I think the defense can make a huge jump this year.
And I don't think they're done adding to it, to be honest with you.
You think they might bring in another edge rusher?
He was asked about the edge rusher. I think I looked at it. Carl Nassib just feels like he felt like a Buck when he was here.
Yeah.
And I believe he had 1 year, right, in the Todd Bowles system. Was it 2019, right? I believe he was here for that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, man. I think he was pretty good that year and then got the payday with Las Vegas. Yeah. He's still out there, 29, has some athleticism to him. I don't know. I'm not convinced they're going to go in there with just Shaq and Joe Tryon and then go to – and I know Anthony Nelson, you liking Anthony Nelson. I think he's a solid player. I don't think they're going to go into the season with that being their front three. I think they're going to add somebody
I think Nassib's probably waiting to get paid. Like he's too good.
He's going to get paid. He had a sack and a half last year. Not his greatest season.
Yeah.
I think you get him at a discount at this rate. I think he'd want to come back.
Yeah, I hope so. I think he's probably waiting to come to a place where he'd have more of a starting role.
Nobody's getting paid at this point.
Players are going to get hurt. There's a lot of, just think if Shaq Barrett got hurt, the first call you'd make, is Carl Nassib. You got to go get somebody, and then it becomes more important, and you'll meet his price. So the injuries will certainly force that if it were to happen. So, but yeah, I think that's a guy that certainly who's out there that could be added. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back on the other side, talk some Rays, and also we got some comments and some questions. Jacob M has a question. We'll get to that. And if you guys ever want to jump in on YouTube or on Facebook, I'm on Facebook, JP Peterson. Jump in there and ask questions. Some Rays talk when we come back, and we'll hear from Kevin Cash. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Military veterans, are you struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse? Is it taking a toll on your relationships and your work life? Are you having trouble focusing? Constantly anxious? Well, you may not be surprised to know that your fellow military vets have your six. Heroes Mile is a new concept in rehabilitation clinics, veterans helping veterans. At Heroes Mile, we staff our rehab center with fellow veterans who can understand what you're going through. Our mission is to help you heal from issues that only your fellow veterans can truly understand. Located just outside of DeLand, we offer a full range of inpatient and outpatient programs dealing with substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, and military sexual trauma. We choose to serve veterans because we know how complex these issues are. You could choose to fight the battle alone or win the war together. We are the community care provider with the VA and also accept most major insurance. At Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center, we have your six. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Thank you for joining us. Whether you're joining us on YouTube, please subscribe to our YouTube channel or on Twitter at FanStreamJP or at the JP Peterson Show. You can always watch us there. Download our app, FanStream Sports, all one word, and you can listen to the show anytime. Just tap that app, and it'll start right up for you. You can fast forward. You can obviously our commercial breaks aren't that long. By the way, when Julio was signed yesterday, I tuned into our local sports station, and it was literally 8 minutes of waiting to hear them say mostly nothing, but of 8 minutes of commercials, talk for about 3 minutes, and then went to another 8 minutes of commercials. We don't do that here, folks. We don't do that here. We give you content. So we thank you so much for joining us in so many ways that you can listen to the show. Julio Jones numbers are in. They're a little bit more than I thought they would be.
Yeah, for Ian Rappaport of NFL Network, 1 year deal, which we knew, $6 million base salary with a max value of $8 million. So we talked about it in the last segment. Where they still have money for Rob Gronkowski. That was Rob Gronkowski's money that just went to Julio Jones. And I have to think now after the Kyle Rudolph signing, which was $2 million. And now with this Julio Jones signing, the Bucs probably have like $2 or $3 million left in cap space at most.
Now I think they can still create some cap space by redoing somebody else's contract. I haven't looked lately at that. There's the one website that shows like what the cap space is, and then one that what they could create basically. So I think if Gronk came back, they could redo somebody's contract and probably create some more space. But maybe that was his money. Maybe he is totally retired.
Yeah,
maybe that's the vibe they're getting.
Yeah, I think that probably could be possible here because they're saying the messages right there by bringing in Kyle Rudolph, which they got to cover their own ass, obviously.
Yeah,
because there's no guarantee there. So that's Kyle Rudolph, but also bringing in Julio Jones now. I think that's a signal that this could be a for real thing, especially given the money there.
Yeah, and you heard Todd Bowles say that you're going to replace Gronk's catches in many ways. It's going to be Kyle Rudolph and it's going to be Julio Jones, and you think about that because you don't want to ever tell the defense whether you're going to run or pass, but you could have Julio in there as big as he is. People forget how big he is. He's a large man. It's 6'3", 245 pounds, and a willing blocker. You can use him to block in the run game like you can Gronk, not as an inline tight end, obviously, but there's because the defense has to then adjust to what you're doing, and you're going to put somebody. If you go 4 wide and spread them out and hand the ball to Leonard Fournette and say, pick your hole, or maybe even someone a little bit quicker and faster in that way. That's a good way to run the football. And you have you're going to have 6 guys in the box at max if you go 4 wide.
Yeah.
Again, this is where you start dictating to the defense and having a guy, he may not run the 4-3 that he used to do, but he still has that huge catch rate and those great hands. Don't forget how good Julio is at catching the ball. That's another thing. You throw it anywhere near him, he's going to come down with it. Great in the contested catch area. Doesn't have to necessarily run away from people anymore to make those big plays. And that's what you get with a Julio Jones. You get that experience. But like you mentioned, 19 games he's played in the last 2 years.
And he's still honestly, I think I would call a low-key burner. Like it's not that he has lost his legs entirely. It's just he can't do it for long stretches anymore. I think
I tell you the thing that blew my mind about Julio the first time I saw him in practice up close and personal running routes is how big he is, how fast he is, but how quick he comes out of the break.
Yeah.
And now this is 2015. So we're talking about, 7 years later now.
Yeah.
He's not doing like that, what he used to do. But he's still pretty damn 75% of that is still upper echelon of the league.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll give you this too. I mean, I have his game logs here in front of me from 2020, which we're not too far removed from that. He didn't play many games. I think he played in 10 games. He had 3 games over 100 yards and 2 games with a 94-yard game and a 97-yard game.
That was last year with the Falcons?
That was his last year with the Falcons in 2020. And then last year, he really only had 2 games or 3 games where he was like fully healthy on the field.
Was that Tennessee, right?
In Tennessee, and one of them was 6 for 128, and one of them was 5 for 58 and a touchdown. And that was playing limited snaps, like 50, 60% of the snaps. So he showed that he could still be productive. But again, are you getting wide receiver 1 Julio?
Hell no.
I mean, I saw the question pop up on ESPN screen a second ago. Can Julio Jones return to all-pro form under Tom Brady? No. That's just not going to happen. Frankly, I don't think he's getting the snaps to get that, number 1. And number 2, I just think that's wishful thinking to count on that. And the other thing, and we didn't talk about it much in the first segment, is that Chris Godwin was cleared to begin training camp. And so for everybody that said, he's coming back in November, he's coming back in December. No, he's not. No, he's not. Chris Godwin's going to be on the field in week 1, week 2, or week 3.
Yeah, he's not. He's cleared to practice right now.
So there's a possibility we're opening up the season with a 4 wideout set of Mike Evans, Russell Gage, Julio Jones, and Chris Godwin.
Good luck with that.
I want to see that set on the field.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
And Leonard Fournette in the backfield.
That's all I need.
Yeah. Because seriously, you got to put, if you go man to man and 1 safety over the top, do the numbers. That's, you got 6 guys in the box, and you clearly with the guys that are on the field right there, if you don't have 2 safeties, you're in trouble. So you're basically running against a 5-man box. And I'll put Leonard Fournette in that offensive line up against a 5 or 6-man box any day of the week to run. Any day of the freaking week. And that's why I keep talking about run game. Just because you're adding big-time receivers doesn't mean you're going to throw the ball, again, more than 741 times, which led the league last year. Doesn't necessarily mean that. It just means that you can dictate to the defense matchup issues that are going to be a problem. If your 4th best corner is on Julio Jones, who is that guy? He's probably 5'11", 185. Good luck with that. That's just a pitch and catch for Brady.
Yeah, and I look at it, too, in regards to the Saints matchup, which we've talked a lot about as well.
Yeah.
Julio Jones has just played against he's played against that defense God knows how many times in his career.
Yeah.
And God knows how many times he's lit them up in his career as well.
Yeah.
You're getting to a scenario where you face a team like that has always had the matchup advantage on you. You go with that 4 wideout set, I think you kind of flip it on them a little bit there.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. They want to be able to beat the Saints this year. And I think bringing in Julio Jones, bringing in Russell Gage, guys who are familiar against that team, I think that's going to help as well.
Man, that wide receiver room is badass.
Yes, this is going to be fun. You're not a video game guy, but I can't wait for Madden to come out because the Bucs are already the highest overall rated team on Madden by 3 overall points, by the way.
Really?
That's a big stretch. Like the Bucs are at 92 overall. Next highest team, I think, is the Bills at 89. Now you add Julio to that. I bet they go up to a 93. The Bucs are going to be like the best team to ever play on Madden with.
Really?
So I'm excited for that.
Just from a talent, and they do that by just talent, individual players.
Everybody's got their own overall. Like they've been talking about it, how all these players feel slighted by their Madden overall.
Right.
Well, they gave the Bucs no Bucs got slighted at all. The Bucs are properly rated as the best team in the league.
Interesting. All right. So your Buccaneers last night.
Your Buccaneers.
I'm sorry. Your Rays last night. I'm all Buck centric now. The Rays last night. How disappointing was that? Shane McClanahan was just absolutely dealing and dominating. He threw 6 1/3 innings on July 13th, had 5 days off, threw 23 pitches in Los Angeles on July 19th.
And only 85 pitches, by the way, in the July 13th start.
Okay, 6 more days off before facing the Orioles. And they take him out after 81 pitches and 7 innings.
Yep.
to bring in Colin Poche. Do we have the audio of the gut-wrenching home run that he gives up, which I believe was on an 0-2 pitch? Was it not? He threw it right over the freaking middle of the plate. I mean, just come on, man.
It's kind of what I go back to. It's like,
and he goes 3-0 on the first pitch.
It's like if you're going to go to your bullpen at that point, still up 3-2. That's what we have high leverage guys for.
And you got 6 outs to get.
Yeah, 6 outs.
Why is Poche in the game?
Why is Poche the first guy? And it just goes back to the fact that they just feel that it's always got to be okay. It's like a sheet and it has all the names. It's like, okay, it's his turn now. It doesn't matter what the situation is. It's his turn now. If this was any other team, Jason Adams going in there right now. And it's not like they were facing this is a righty he's facing.
And not only that, it was the bottom of the order in the 8th.
Bottom of the order.
How do you not keep McClanahan in for the 8th and then send Jason Adams out for the 9th?
Can't answer that question, but here is the home run for Ramon Urias, courtesy of the Orioles Network.
His brother got one too, I think.
That is a fly ball belted by Urias, deep left field. At the wall. Get out of here.
You get out of here.
He's a monster killer. Up over the great wall. Ramon Urias cannot be stopped.
Who the hell is Ramon Urias?
I don't know, but he's a monster killer and he cannot be stopped.
A monster killer, can't be stopped. What is that? This is not Cal Ripken at the plate.
With a little hyperbole there.
I know, a little bit
Let
too
him finish.
much.
Wait, let me hear the rest of that.
Oh, you want to hear the rest of that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's going off. And what else is he? Hall of Famer? Play the.
I don't know. Let me get to where I was. There we go.
Cannot be stopped.
Can't be stopped.
The Orioles have the lead. 4-3 in the 8th.
Fantastic. No, see, I knew he was done. He's done, Mr. Urias.
Well, monster killer and cannot be stopped. At least last night was true. Although he got Colin Poche, it's not like he got it off of Shane McClanahan. Yeah, it's just, and then you pull him, and then this happens, and then your offense is still anemic.
I can't even say anemic. He got 12 hits.
Yeah,
they just can't get guys in.
Got to score runs, bro.
They can't get guys in. Randy Arozarena again, out on the base paths, trying to do too much. I understand the guy could steal bases, but my goodness, this is. I thought some things would change as we get to the second half, but it seems like the same issues are plaguing the Rays that they did in the first half when they lost games.
Can we get to the Kevin Cash and the question about, and then we'll hear from Shane McClanahan as well about taking him out.
Yeah, well, here's the Kevin Cash pressure.
Okay.
A lot of things to get to in this game, but wanted to start with Colin Poche. Was it kind of just maybe a tough night for him? I know they put some good swings and got some hard contact on that home run.
Yeah, they did. Look, Colin's been outstanding for us this year. Fell behind 3-0 to Adley, comes back, gets to 3-2. He saw a lot of pitches right there, so he's able to get a single in there. And then Urias, give him credit. He's had some success against us this year for sure. And that was another big homer.
Obviously, you guys put some runs on the board, but probably would like to see more come across the plate with as many hits as you had.
Yeah, ideally. Was encouraged that we did swing the bat well. It felt like we hit a lot of balls hard, but would like to think that we can get some more runs with the 13 hits or whatever it was that we got.
Shane McClanahan, how solid was he tonight?
He was awesome. Leadoff homer and then the change up to Santander. And then other than that, I don't feel like there was really a threat of anything. I mean, he was just really good. Encouraged that he, had that layoff and then came back and gave us really 7 strong innings.
And then just felt like 81 pitches and 7 innings was enough for his workload.
Given the workload or lack of workload where he was at and the break that we tried to build in, felt like that was plenty.
I don't understand how if you have more rest, you can't pitch more. So basically you're saying he doesn't have the arm strength? What are these guys doing between starts? I mean, are they look, I know Kyle Snyder knows a hell of a lot more about pitching than I do, but this makes no sense. He's well rested. He's at 81 pitches. He's mowing people down.
It just, again, what is that? It doesn't.
How is Colin Poche give you a better chance to win the game?
He doesn't.
And I understand you got to manage his workload, but that makes no sense to me. He's really well rested, so we got to get him out of there. What? I'm
not going to pretend to figure out that I understand what they're talking about there. I just, for the life of me, I can't understand it. You know, I'm looking at a guy like Jason Adams. When's the last time Jason Adams pitched? Where is he? Where is he? He hasn't pitched since July 17th. Where's Jason Adams? If we're coming in,
well, he's too rested, so we don't want to throw him.
Jason Adams has not pitched.
Is that how that works?
Has not pitched since the All-Star break has ended. Where's he at?
Well, well, then we don't want to pitch him because he's well rested. He's too.
I don't know what we're doing.
Analytics tell me that.
I don't.
If you've rested for 10 days, then you can't pitch. So will you ever pitch? I don't know. I'm confused now. How does this whole thing work?
I'm stuttering because I don't know what to say. He hasn't pitched. Jason Adams has not pitched since July 17th. That was 10 days ago. And if you're taking out Shane McClanahan, a Cy Young pitcher, and you're going to go to somebody in that situation, go to your high leverage guy. It's not like he was facing a lefty. You had a lefty facing a righty, which is reverse analytics. I don't have any answers today. I got no answers.
Well, the answer that he gave, is there more to that? Do we have more?
I think that was the end of him talking about the decision there.
I think he went on to say.
Let's keep going and see if he says anything else.
I don't want to hear from Shane.
I mean, you've been very transparent about saying at some point there'll be a limit on what he can do. Is that a tough balance in a game like this where you're?
I'll be totally honest. If his pitch count wasn't so low, he would have been done after 6. But he was so low, we felt comfortable going back out after 7. But there's no doubt it's a challenging discussion, just because we know how good he is. But we also have a lot of confidence in the guys that we were, in theory, coming in to get the final 6 outs.
Gotcha. So it's also the innings more so than the pitches, it sounded like.
Well,
you're saying.
The biggest factor was the break from the All-Star.
Gotcha.
Over the 4 or 5 days, then 4 more days over the break, and then yes.
Gotcha. Then Randy, I mean, a couple pitches.
This must be some type of research that they've done on body kinetics, where, you know, if you're not used to throwing, but then again, that's my point, is like, shouldn't you have him up and throwing, like doing something in between starts if you're worried about to keep the arm strength up? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that you've got to give him more rest because he's had a lot of rest. I don't know.
I'm not interested in that right now. I'm not interested in that right now.
And like you said, you've lost 3 in a row at this point. Toronto's hot. Every game matters, and you make a decision like this. It's almost like you're trying to lose.
You need to have a feel. You have to have a feel for what's going on in front of you. The guy is just absolutely dealing. He's only given up 2 solo shots and was locked in, like we've seen. That to me should tell the whole story right there. And it's not like you're I know the Orioles have been playing good baseball. I'm not trying to take anything away from them. It's not like you're facing the Yankees,
right?
Where at every batter is at risk of doing something big. I mean, he was doing fine against the Orioles, unless it was a solo home run. Nobody could touch him last night. I can't make sense of it. And then, of course, having a feel for the standings, I just mentioned it right there. The Rays have now fallen into the 3rd wild card spot. The Mariners have passed you now. The Blue Jays are 2 games ahead of you. I mean, the next series is against Cleveland, who's 2.5 behind you. I said this earlier this week. This stretch is the most important stretch of the Rays right now because it's going to decide their fate at the trade deadline.
Right.
And right now, you just lost 4 in a row.
Well,
doesn't
maybe
look too good for that.
Maybe you want to lose games, so there's no expectations at the trade deadline to go out and add salary, like so many of you Rays fans think that they're going to do. Let's get Juan Soto. Oh, right. Yeah, that's going to happen.
If the Rays drop this series to Baltimore, which is a 4-game set, they drop it to Baltimore, and then they drop the series to Cleveland. At that point, I'm not going to have any words to say about going to get and acquire people. It ain't worth it at that point.
Well, and like it looks like you're between the lineups that you're putting out there and sitting guys right after the All-Star break. You know, it makes no sense. And this last night, let's hear from Shane McClanahan too, because he was none too happy about getting pulled, and he's done a good job of saying the right things, and I think that's what he's doing here. But you could just tell, you won't be able to see it, obviously.
The look on his face right now.
Yeah, but the look on his face will tell you is like, I'm pissed off. Are you freaking kidding? That's why he doesn't stay in the dugout to watch what happens. Because the camera's going to be on him. He'll throw in a chair again.
Cash mentioned, obviously not the result everybody wanted, but he thought you were outstanding tonight. I mean, you retired 10 of the last guys you faced after that home run to Santander. How'd you feel?
I felt good. I felt good to get back out there after kind of what felt like long break. I think it was like 13 days between starts, and so it was good to get back out there and get the feel of the mound.
On those 2 home runs, kind of what did you feel on those pitches?
Well, one of them was the first pitch of the game. Just ambushed me and just got to tip your cap, move on, and not worry about that too much. And the other one, he made a good swing. I don't think it was too bad of a pitch, and Santander made a really good swing on it, and drove it.
Shane, obviously, Cash explained there's a balance in your workload and your performance. Just how do you kind of process getting taken out with such a low pitch count in that type of game?
It's not my call. I can only control what I do on the mound, and at the end of the day, it's not my call how many I go.
Would you share what your reaction was when they told you were out?
I was surprised, but I wasn't at the same time. It was my first start back, and ultimately they're going to do what they think's best, and I don't have control of that, and I just got to trust them.
That's the right thing to say. That's what you say, but you can just tell by it's like, what, this is crazy. This is bananas. I don't know what metrics they're working at or biometrics they're working with, but that makes zero sense. 81 pitches, 56 strikes, retired the last 10 in a row in a 3-2 ball game. You got to let the kid go.
I mean, I only imagine what some of the quote unquote old heads right now are have to be
just
thinking
losing their minds
when they see something like that. Like, could you imagine if this was like a primetime game and like, let's just say it's on Fox and like John Smoltz is calling it? Could you imagine? I mean, he has no hair, but could you imagine him just pulling it? I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, if we had Smoltz on today, he would just completely
and
not
listen,
understand what this is.
Like
I'll probably text him today. He goes, you see, they took channel. He'll lose his mind.
Yeah, and listen, I understand things change. The game has changed. We have so many different metrics to abide by. But at some point, and we've said it over and over, can we lock into what the game situation to what's going on in front of our eyes?
Yes.
Please? You can't convince me there's anybody else in that bullpen, even Jason Adam, who I wish was there, that was a better option than Shane McClanahan at that time.
No, there's not. And especially in a situation where you needed to win that game, you had to turn it around.
And he had retired the last 10 batters heading into that. Until he shows one little sign of weakness, you keep him in there.
Yeah.
81 pitches. This is not like he was going into it with 110 pitches here.
No, it makes zero sense. It makes zero sense, and it doesn't make sense to Shane McClanahan either. So now here we go again tonight. Who we got going tonight? And they got to win this game tonight. It's gotten crazy now with how much they've slipped. And by the way, the Yankees are slipping too.
Yes, they are.
And now Stanton is hurt. So this would have been a golden
Annual
opportunity.
tweet.
What's that?
I said that's the annual.
Yeah, and it's a golden opportunity to make up ground on the Yankees, and you're losing to the Royals and the Orioles. And I know the Orioles are better, but you still should be beating them.
The month of July,
with who they're throwing.
The month of July, I believe the Rays are 12-10, and they are 9-2. I want to say against the Blue Jays and the Red Sox.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
And all the other losses have come to the Reds, the Orioles, and the Royals. You want to talk about playing down to your competition?
Yeah,
there's the difference.
Yeah,
right there.
And kudos to Itzhak Paredes, who hit a 400-foot home run last night
with a gimmicky left wall.
Yeah.
What a stupid ass decision.
Why did they do that?
I don't know. And the players hate it. Their own players hate it. Why would you ruin such a beautiful ballpark like that? I see so many like fly balls out there, and I'm like, that should be a home run.
Yeah.
But no.
Who was it that hit the other one to the track with 2 on for us, for the Rays? Forget who it was.
I forget who it was, but it's been
run.
happening all series long on both teams. And I look at the players' reactions. You're just like, son of a, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's got to piss you off. No doubt about it. All right. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back on the other side. Scott Carter is going to join us. He was at the SEC Media Days, covers your Florida Gators. So much going on in college football to talk about. We'll hit up the brains of the Florida Gators, the best in the business. Scott Carter will join us right after this. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you, and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. If you have got a COVID diagnosis, they have the great treatments over there. Dr. Chris Lugo will take care of you. Talked to him a couple weeks ago on the show about his treatments for COVID. They've had great success treating their patients, so do not fret. You can get great treatment and great outcomes if you get COVID. Just go to BAMMC.com. The contact information is right there. You can email them or sign up, get an appointment or call in, BAMMC.com. So there's no reason for you to be sick with COVID. So if you get that diagnosis, call them quick and get the treatment started right away, BAMMC.com. All right, let's bring in our good friend Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com, who went to the very eventful SEC Media Days. What's up, Scotty? How are you?
JP, man, it must be that time of year when the SEC Media Days rolls around. So
yes.
Ready to get it rolling.
And when do the Gators report? I think FSU comes in today, if I'm not mistaken. They get started. When does Florida start?
They come in on Tuesday, report Wednesday, first practice, and next week I'm saying, and man, I mean, it's hard to believe. So next Tuesday, or a week from today, they'll be practicing.
Ooh, and Billy Napier starting his first year and going through his first SEC Media Days. What were the reviews on the coach and how he handled everything, and anything that was most pertinent that he said that caught a lot of attention?
You know, Billy, I think he handled it the way I expected. He's talked so much the last 7 months when you're a new coach and you come into a new job. It's like there was not much we haven't heard up in Atlanta. You know, it was just a new audience. I think he was, just kind of displayed that calm and cool demeanor that he has since he arrived. And hey, we've got a plan. We're going to execute that plan. I waited my turn to take a job like this. I wanted the right place, and I thought Florida was it. And now it's going to take time, and I think we're going to learn a lot about him, JP, early on. I mean, that Utah game to open the season at the Swamp, that's a big test right away. And there's not going to be, the honeymoon, as they say, is going to be over right there. If they lose that one, unfair or not, it's just the way it is in today's culture. But in the big picture, I think if you're a Gator fan and you really know what's going on and where this program is, I think you understand that they've got some work to do. I mean, Dan Mullen's tenure got off to a great start, but you saw it unravel at the end. And as time has kind of distanced itself from that, you see some of the holes there.
And obviously, Richardson at quarterback is the key, and made a lot of news last week on something I think that was quite expected. Getting rid of the AR-15 moniker that so aptly fits him. Before all, the horrible stuff starts happening. But I just thought it was interesting and a sign of the times now that when he did his interview, it's like, I've talked to my team, my branding team. And I'm like, wow, this is where we are in college football right now. And we're going to move on with different branding other than AR-15. Probably not to offend any gun owners. We're not going to get into any of that stuff. But when you're branding a college quarterback, probably a good idea. Talk a little bit about that and the reaction to it.
Yeah, I think it was a wise move for Anthony. I just, obviously the nickname is his initials with his number, has no connection to anything else outside of that. But it can only hurt him in a bigger picture as his fame or notoriety kind of grows. If he turns into the player that a lot of people think he will become, it would only hurt him. So I thought going ahead and kind of taking care of that at this level of his career was pretty smart. And there's nobody on this team, JP, as you know. I mean, that's going to determine whether or not this first season for Billy Napier is a big success or not. I think, if Anthony Richardson lives up to the potential that, you see there, if he can stay healthy, I think he can cover a lot of the holes that maybe the Gators have at other spots. Great players can do that, right?
Yeah.
But we've got to see it consistently. He's got one career start under his belt. I think Billy Napier pointed out up in Atlanta last week, he's got 39 career completions, only about 200 plays under his belt. So there's just so much that we don't know about Anthony Richardson, but he passes every eye test, every arm test, every speed test. And I think he's really grown up a lot in the last year or so and has handled spotlight well. I thought he handled himself well in Atlanta.
And that's so he seems to have the maturity for the job, right? I mean, that's what you see when you go into these big media gatherings, right? And it's I think you wrote a wiser Richardson. Is that just the sense that you get that? And he's always been, that guy that was behind Emory, right? But that the fans are clamoring for. It's kind of a hard position to be in, but now he's in the spotlight. It's his job. I mean, people are talking about him to be, possibly the number one pick in the NFL draft. I mean, it's coming at him quick, is it not?
Yeah, it really is. And, he handled all that well. I did write about that part last week. Just, I was impressed with the way he handled himself. I know a lot of other people there were too. I always tell a story, JP, of in December of 2019 when he was on his commitment visit. I remember meeting him for the first time, him and his mom here in town, and I'd never watched him play. And right away, you see this guy who's a lot bigger than you expect him to be, and he has that deep voice when you don't expect to hear from like a 17, 18-year-old guy. And I just think he's handled the spotlight well growing up, and he's well grounded with his mom and some people here in town. And I do expect him, if he stays healthy.
Yeah,
that's a big question. But if he stays healthy, I do expect him to do some things that that we think he can. Fans who watch him think he can. And I mean, this guy has some explosive potential. I'm not going as far as saying he's going to be a top 10 NFL pick.
Exactly.
But I think he can be a hell of a college quarterback.
Scott Carter joining us here from FloridaGators.com. And talk about the Napier offense that he's going to be running. How much different is it from what Mullen did? And how do you see his strengths and weaknesses in that offense?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be built around Anthony, obviously. I mean, Napier is a guy who, all coaches love, or they love to say they want a balanced offense. I think if you looked at what Napier did at Louisiana, there's definitely some balance there. There's some good old-fashioned hard-nosed running the football, but there's also utilizing the quarterback position out there with Levi Lewis, who is a little mobile and to get outside and make plays. I think, you have that in Anthony Richardson kind of just on another level. He's a lot more talented than his quarterback at Louisiana was. The Gators receivers, they're going to have, there's a little drop off there. There's some questions there. They've been good at that position for really 4 or 5 years under Dan Mullen.
Yeah.
So they've got a refill there. But I like the running game. Naquan Wright and Montreal Dotson came over from Louisiana. Lorenzo Lingard's there. So they've got some players back there to help Anthony when they do need to run the ball. I think I think he likes his first team. Everything you've heard Billy Napier say, he knows this is a talented first team. It's a matter, can they develop the depth and some new players coming into the program to help out in year one.
And the offensive line should be a strength of this team. In years past, I know it has not been, but they've got some older guys there. Talk a little bit about the O-line.
Yeah, I do think the offensive line is going to be a strength, JP. And, one of the guys up in Atlanta last week was Richard Garage, who I know you're familiar with down there in Tampa.
Yes, my son played with him at Cambridge Christian, and nice young man and really developed. Big fella.
Yeah, he looks like a next level player. He's really growing up, and he's going to be one of the veterans up there. Michael Tarquin, They brought in another guy from Louisiana, a young guy, Osiris Tyrus, who I think he's already made all SEC mention in the preseason. So yeah, there's some people there up front. That Ethan White's another guy from down in Clearwater. He's been a impressive guy. I think he's going to have a breakout season this year. So that can only help Anthony. I think it can only help Billy Napier and what they want to do offensively, because if you have a veteran group up there, that takes some of the, if they play well, that takes a lot of the pressure off a young quarterback. If you give him a little time when he needs to pass, but also do what you need to do to clear some space up there for him to make plays. And if you give Anthony Richardson some space, he's going to make plays. And I think Billy Napier plans to utilize him as much as he can in year one in this offense.
Hey, on the recruiting trail, obviously it's early into Billy Napier's tenure. Is there any kind of trends that you've been able to pick up on, anything different in the way they're recruiting or where they're recruiting, and especially with Corey Raymond coming over? Because I know he was one of the best recruiters, especially in the secondary at LSU.
Yeah, I mean, Raymond's had an impact. A lot of these, he was really, when you look at what Billy Napier did on his staff early on, I think most of the people who really know about recruiting and recruiting in the SEC specifically, they're probably most pleased with Corey Raymond's addition. But I think more than anything, they've recharged that part of the program. If you look at it, if you're a recruitnik, or if you follow recruiting closely, the Gators are getting a lot more publicity in the recruiting trail than really, I think, in 4 or 5 years. Their rankings have improved, especially for the 2023 class. I mean, they've hit on some, they've missed on some. Obviously, them in Miami have gone head-to-head on a few guys, with the quarterback who went down to Miami. But then this is a new day and age. Florida says, hey, we'll go grab the Penn State quarterback and get him in here. And, it won't surprise me if this guy has a better career than the kid who went down to Miami. But it's all recruiting. It's all kind of unknown at this time. But I think the biggest change in Florida's recruiting philosophy, without question, is Billy Napier's openness, understanding, and embracing the NIL process. I never thought that was something Dan Mullen was too excited about. You could tell by his public comments. He's not alone. I mean, there's a lot of coaches his generation who are really having a problem adapting to the mentality of what this is and how much it's going to impact that part of the program in future years. And it's just starting, and we don't know where it's going. But I will say Billy Napier has been nothing but open about it. There's the Gator Collective, the Gator Guard, things that we haven't even seen around here, but except for the last few months. So it's a change in times, but I think he's the kind of guy, kind of coach who can succeed in the new age, JP.
Scott Carter joining us from FloridaGators.com. Just a quick word on the defense. You got Trey Dean, the leading tackler, back at safety. Mahamoud Diabate is off to Utah. The leading tackler in linebacking spot, but Ventrell Miller, I believe, is back from a torn biceps. How does the defense look? How is it shaping up?
Well, I think it's got a chance to be a pretty good unit. Ventrell Miller back. It was a big loss for them last year. He's the kind of the communicator at the middle linebacker position, and Diabate did have a kind of a breakout year, but he's not really. He's more of an edge guy, and of course, as you mentioned, he's going to be back at the Swamp, and
yes, he is.
They stopped playing for Utah.
Yeah,
that's another sign of the times, right?
Yep.
But Ventrell's back. He went up to Atlanta with Garage and Richardson. Those were the 3 representatives for the Gators up there. So that tells you all you need to know. Yeah. This is a guy who's now been in the program 6 years, and I'm trying to determine. I'm pretty sure this is a school record, JP. Napier's his 5th head coach if you count the 2 interim coaches, Randy Shannon, and Greg Cox. So I think that's got to be a school record for one player in Florida to have taken the field for 5 head coaches. But he's a vital part of that defense. Trey Dean's a veteran in the secondary, but I'm really excited to see Jason Marshall, one of the cornerbacks we saw last year. I think he, as a true freshman, I think he could have a breakout season this year as a sophomore. And then Jervon Dexter's the guy up front. Everybody's
Yeah.
saying this could be the next great defensive lineman from Florida. You look at him, he certainly has all the physical gifts. Now we're just waiting. Kind of like Anthony Richardson, more focus on him. Is he going to produce? And I think it's a big opportunity for Jervon Dexter this year.
All right, Scotty, I guess the media voted Florida to finish 4th in the East. That's not good.
Right.
That's not good, but new coaching staff and all that. What's your prediction for wins this year? What do you think would constitute a good season for Florida this year?
I've been saying 8-4, JP. I think it's a fair, reasonable start for the Napier era. Again, I think, you talk to me in about 6 weeks, and if they're 3-0, I'll change that. But if Anthony Napier's playing, Anthony Richardson playing really well, I think he could change that record. But I think he could also change it the other way too if he gets hurt or struggles.
Yeah.
So, I wrote this in my story. I think there's no other player on the roster in Billy Napier's first year who is obviously as important as Anthony Richardson. That's going to be the case with a lot of teams in your starting quarterback. But I think it's magnified with the Gators this year because, one, of the potential of the guy, and 2, of just some of the unknowns. He could be a great eraser of some of the unknowns if he breaks out.
It's going to be a fun season. A lot of unknowns around the state of Florida. How's Florida State going to do? How's Florida going to do? Will Miami get better? Going to be a fun season. Scotty, appreciate your time. As also, follow him at Gators Scott. Let me get this right here. At Gators Scott. That's with an S in there. And FloridaGators.com. Just go there for all of his content and great content if you're a Gator fan. Thanks, partner. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right. We're going to take a little bit of a break here. Going to come back and talk a little golf. We're going to do this each and every Wednesday for you degenerate gamblers like myself. John Gerber's going to join us, PGA professional, give us his picks for this week. And then we'll go back to the Bucs training camp. I was out there this morning, tell you what we saw, what to expect, and we'll have some more sound as well. Stay with us. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucs, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to MC.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. If you're looking to get engaged, no better place. They've got the best prices, the best selection. Their staff there is so comfortable to work with. When you walk in, they'll take good care of you. Just tell them what your budget is, what you're looking for. Don't forget, you can get a big ring if you don't have a lot of cash. 0% financing for up to 5 years. That'll save you a ton of money and get you a nice big ring for 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks. Just go on in, find out what you can afford. They'll hook you up. And then all you got to do is pop the question. Saw a video of the other day of a guy who got down on his knee, popped the question, and she said no. In a crowded bar, the dude was crushed. Don't let that happen to you. Get a better ring at the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Almerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. All right, I want to welcome in our good buddy, Johnny Gerber, PGA professional and golf expert gambler. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Good morning, JP. How are you doing this morning?
I am well, sir. And evidently you've been doing well, making some great picks on the PGA Tour. We're going to bring you on each and every Wednesday to give us some picks and make us some money. We got the Rocket Mortgage Classic up in Detroit this week. So tell me what you're thinking.
Yeah, this is the third edition of the Rocket Mortgage up there at Detroit Golf Club. And, it's one of my favorite tournaments of the year, just not because you're kind of feeding into the FedEx Cup, but I really enjoy those types of golf courses. It's a over 100-year-old Donna Ross golf course that they're going to play this week and next week. So I'm looking at some of the guys that's going to see on the card this week and potentially next week. And it's very rarely that I do this, pick two guys that are kind of, short odds. But my first pick this week is Will Zalatoris at 18-1. It's just kind of time for this guy to really kind of jump out. And I think he's a bit like Scotty Scheffler. Once he wins once, I think he's really going to go on a run and win. Yeah. And there's no better time for him to do it than now, than just to get ready for that the FedEx Cup. And then his college teammate at Wake Forest, Cam Young, at 20-1, I picked as our second pick on the card this week. Again, he's kind of similar to Will Zalatoris. This guy is ready to kind of break through. And again, once he does, I really just think he's going to go on a nice run. And again, getting ready for those FedEx Cup playoffs, it's a good time for him to kind of jump out. Third pick this week, I like Scott Stallings at 50-1. He plays this type of golf course very well, kind of stays in his own moment. And he played well there last year. He had a T22nd, and he really, willingly saying he really likes this type of golf. So I like him as our third pick. And we have two ham sandwich picks this week. Our ham sandwich is kind of our long shot.
Okay.
So we're going to do a little double ham sandwich this week. I like two guys. Long shots, Brendan Steele, a friend of the show from the Rough Podcast, 66-1, and Chris Goddard at 75-1. I really like him. A couple top 10 picks this week. Taylor Pendress at plus 700. I like him. He's his last two starts coming off of injuries, finished T13 and T12. So I really like him breaking in that top 10. And I like Trey Mullinax as a little longer shot at plus 500 to jump in that top 20. He won 3 weeks ago in Kentucky. So those who I like so far this week going into the Rocket Mortgage.
And I love your perspective. We talked with you last week on your philosophy, and you've played on the tour, so you have a really good feel for this. And one of your number one indicators is horses for courses. Do you have any history with some of these guys on this particular course that are kind of driving these picks?
Yeah, absolutely. We kind of shuffled around with the top 20 pick with Kevin Kisner. Mm-hmm. He finished T8 there last year, but he was really short odds. You couldn't really make much money.
Right.
He's a kind of an iffy at plus 190. And then next week, he won the tournament last year down in Sedgefield in Greensboro. So he had T8, and he won the following week at Greensboro. So he's a guy to look out for this week and next week. And again, a guy like Brendan Steele, who really likes these type of golf courses that are Bermuda and some Poe greens that he was kind of used to growing up with in Northern California. So that really lends to some of those guys that are used to some of these grasses to really play well, continue to play well on these types of golf courses.
And you got Cam Young in there. I heard a great story yesterday, and I don't think anybody knows this, but guy I work with used to coach him in junior hockey. and said, and he was at a very high level, and he played hockey for 1 year and was already the best player out there. And we're talking about some junior players that went on to high level colleges and even into the NHL, that this guy's hands were so good that he and everybody wanted him to continue to play hockey. And he literally believes he could have been an NHL player. But he was like dead set to be a golfer. Probably a pretty good choice, but just a little fun fact there.
Yeah, isn't it amazing how good some of the hockey players are at golf? They seem to transition really good into the sport. I have a lot of hockey friends, and I know you do there in Tampa, that I play with here in Dallas that play in the NHL, and they just really pick it up, whether their form is real similar to the golf swing. And just like you said, those hands, coming through the golf ball and playing the game, especially with their short game, it's pretty amazing how easily they transition into golf. Yeah,
so a little fun fact there about Cam Young, and doing what he did at the Open, he's got to be playing with just incredible confidence and a long hitter too. It just is. I mean, what do you think his future is in on the tour?
Yeah, really. I mean, he comes from a PGA family, right? His dad is a PGA member. He's been a PGA member for 40, 50 years. I believe he's the head golf professional up in Sleepy Hollow up in New York. So he's used to really these types of golf courses. He's playing this week and next week, kind of old school Donald Ross, bent grass, poke, greens, things like that. So look at him, and he's a grinder too, right? He doesn't really show a lot of emotion. So he's out there just kind of getting the job done. And again, he's a bit like Zalatoris. I think once this guy wins, either of these two guys wins once, he's going to be a bit like Scotty Scheffler, and they're just going to go on a run, and you're going to be talking about Cam Young and Zalatoris for a long time.
All right, now getting back to the wagering, obviously getting picks is great, but you got to know how to use your unit, right? So, so to speak. So what betting advice do you have for people in terms of, how many units do you put into your winners? How many do you put into your top 10s and your top 20 picks, your ham sandwiches pick? Like kind of tell me your unit strategy philosophically. Does it kind of depend on how strong you feel about a certain player, or do you have more like set rules on how many units you play in a winner's pot, a top 20, a top 10, and long shots?
Yeah, that's a great question. My philosophy is, for me, I'm $100 player, so every bet I play will be equal. So it'll be $100 play per outright winners, ham sandwich, our 2 top 10s and 2 top 20s. Okay. So I will play that and stay consistent. But the best advice I give to people is, listen, follow the system, because there's going to be weeks that that are not going to be a great success, especially when we're handicapped. Follow the system. Don't deviate from your system. And if it's our system or yours, play the same every single week. And with our system being up, plus 17,280 units of dollars for the year, we follow the system every week. And like I said, there's going to be weeks we don't have that much success, but there is going to be a lot of weeks that we do have success to catch up for those weeks that are not great.
Yeah, that's what people have to understand, because if you can go 3 weeks without hitting anything, but then if Scott Stallings wins this week at 50-1, boom, right, you're right back in it. So yeah, that's how
absolutely.
That works.
I tell people all the time, golf handicapping is hard.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really hard.
You can't pick a winner every day or every week. It's but your track record. What'd you win last year? Over 70,000.
Yeah, just a little shy of 70,000 units. So for someone like me as $100 player, that you'd be profiting almost $70,000.
Yeah.
If you're a $10 player, you'd be profiting over $7, and so on and so forth. But again, this year it's been a little bit slow, but we're still really on top of the number. And the great thing about golf is there's no off week, so we can continue to build on this this little nest egg that we're doing.
I have a feeling you're going to hit big as we go into the playoffs. So. Make us some money, brother. Hey, last question. I think I saw where Sergio said he's not going to the Live Tour because he wants to be part of the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, that was an interesting. Sergio's kind of an interesting guy, anyways. But I think that really kind of comes down to some of those rules and regulations that's really happening about him being on the Ryder Cup. If you really look at Sergio, I mean, when you think about Sergio, the first thing you think about is the Ryder Cup.
Right.
So part of his legacy is, I don't think he really wanted to get rid of part of that legacy. And again, some of the changes that's going on with the Live Tour that a lot of people probably didn't understand, and I didn't either, that you could be kicked off the Live Tour. Some of these last the last couple of weeks or last week, 5 guys just got removed from the Live Tour to put on new people. And I don't think they realized that. So I don't think they read the fine print.
No.
So, some of this Live Tour is kind of changing day to day. And I think Sergio's legacy is the Ryder Cup. And I really just didn't think he wanted to lose that, to be honest.
That's smart stuff. All right, Johnny Gerber, we're going to put these back out. And what's your Twitter handle? Because you put them out on your Twitter handle as well. Give us all the.
Yeah, you can follow me at J Gerber PGA Pro. You can always follow us Wednesday night live on From the Rough podcast. We do a 6:30 live show in Dallas, Texas. And you can always follow us also on DSP Media Network. We put out picks. We put out matchups on Saturday and Sunday also. So that's just another opportunity for you to fill those pockets.
Love it. Thanks, Johnny. We'll talk to you next week. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me on, buddy.
All right. Yeah. Do you want to make some money on golf? $70,000. How much did you make last year, Nick? Not 70? No. So I'm going to load up. I'm going to play my units this weekend and see if he pop. Because you don't want to listen to this podcast and listen to his picks and watch the golf this weekend and go and see Scott Stallings at 50-1 on the leaderboard on Sunday going, dadgummit.
Hey, and I recall last time he was on, it was before the Open.
Yeah.
And I believe he told us to keep eye on Cam Smith as well.
Yes, he did.
I do remember that because he had really good odds.
Yes, he did. No, they won. He picked Cam Smith to win at like 28-1 or something.
30-1, I believe.
Yeah, 30-1, and they hit on that. So
there you go.
If you were betting $100 on Cam Smith and you were taking his, that's 30. That's like 30 grand.
There you go.
Yeah,
30 grand.
Yeah, or sorry, 3,000. Yeah, 3,000.
Listen, journalism majors aren't math majors. Let me tell you that right now. So,
oh, my bad. Yeah, that's right. All right, we'll take our final break. When we come back, we may have some Julio Jones audio for you. He just spoke, and we'll recap Bucs training camp and some more information. We didn't get to everything early on, so stay with us. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Homerton Road. Also, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, if you get a COVID positive test, they are the people to go to, having great success treating COVID. Christopher Lugo talked about that on the show the other week with antivirals and supplements. They will get you right. So no reason to be sick and certainly no reason to die from COVID. There are plenty of great treatments out there, and you can get them at BAMMC, Bay Area Modern Medical Center.com. All right, we had Julio Jones came out late for practice today after signing his contract, passed his physical, and stepped to the podium to meet the media. Here's a little snippet from the newest Buccaneer, Julio Jones. Is that a Superman shirt he's got on there? Kind of, no?
All those battles that you went through against this team, did you ever think in a million years that you would be a Buccaneer?
He would be a Buccaneer?
I didn't think that. But that's the past. I'm here now. I'm looking forward, right? I'm not looking backwards. It's a great opportunity for me to be a part of something special in the Buccaneer family. Just looking forward to getting to work.
It's been a long offseason. When did you first start seriously thinking about Tampa as an option?
All along. Once I got the call from Tennessee and letting them, they're saying I can, go out and explore. Jimmy Sexton, my agent at CAA, we discussed some options, things like that. And I already told him where I wanted to play. So
Tampa Bay.
Just being with a Hall of Fame quarterback, great quarterback, the coaching staff here is next door. I'm from Alabama. I played in Georgia, right? So it's right here. My family can come see me. I'm not going out the way, but just having the ability to come down here and just work, bring what I can to the team, whatever I can to the team to help, whether it's mentor, a play style, whatever the case may be, just come out here and work each and every day and just try to get better.
What do you expect, the next couple of days to look like for you? And I know there's some terminology that has to be learned in the system. So for you being in the situation you're in now, just mentally, what will these next couple of days be like?
So the next couple of days for me is more so just getting everything handled inside the building, right? So you got to do the physical, you got to do all that before I can actually come out here, and play and so on and so on. But I'm healthy. I'm 100% healthy. I don't have any issues, nothing lingering, holding me back, anything like that.
Good to know.
But it's just the beginning. So I just had to check all those boxes first and then just come out here and play. Whether I got a little bit of the formations in today's install, but even if I don't, I still come out here and run routes. I know what an end cut is. I know what a slant is. I know what a hitch is. I know what go routes is. I know what all that is, right? So, just coming out here and just doing it over and over, I learn it. So I don't see no pressure on me as far as trying to figure out the offense. I just feel like just being out here and just getting the experience and running and timing.
What have your conversations been like with Tom? Prior to getting here, I'm not sure if you've talked to him or what has that been like?
That's confidential. Tom's a great guy, man. Who you want to, be leading your ball club, who you want to play for. So I'm gonna take as far as that now. Okay.
Oh, interesting.
You got everything in your career, right, except for the Super Bowl. You came really close to that, except for the guy you're playing with.
Never won a Super Bowl.
Is that just the crowning piece for you?
He's smiling at the thought that he hasn't won it. Brady's the man who took it.
Absolutely. For me, it's not a money play. It's not none of that, right? It's just for me to come out here, knowing my value and knowing what I have to offer, right? And like I said, the Buccaneer organization just giving me the opportunity to come here and showcase my skills and just to be a part of something new, be a part of this team. Like I said, they have everything that they need already, right? So it's just but you got to put the work in each and every day. Nothing is given to you. You got to come to work every day. And that's what I bring. I'm going to work every day, and that's just who I am.
Julio, what does it mean to be reunited with guys Russell Gage?
Right.
Reunited with Russell Gage.
Has he been helping you kind of get up to speed with the installs? Will you rely?
Kind of forgot.
Listen, I literally just got here this morning. I flew in last night,
receivers.
Right? So today after practice, that was my first time seeing Gage, but Kiki. It's several guys here that I've played with. Even Kyle just left, but we got drafted together. Just familiar faces, just hanging out, doing things together. So it's good. It feels like it's supposed to feel. It doesn't feel foreign to me. Just seeing familiar faces Everybody's been welcoming here. And that's what you want, in a ball club, in the organization, with the players. Had another chance to talk to Mike not too long ago, but I always talk to him in passing, after a game here and there. But now we're going to be able to spend more time together just to talk, communicate, So I think that's just a plus, man. Like everybody, like-minded people coming together, and we all got the same common goal.
Gosh, it's so ironic, like George was saying how, we were this close and
Why are you bringing up old stuff? We don't go backwards. He did it. He did it.
What was the question?
All right.
you're like in a million years, you guys would be teammates.
It was
The Super Bowl?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
back to the Super Bowl in 28-3. Yeah.
Had to bring that up, right?
Yeah. Not a fan of the question.
Right. No, I mean, like I said, it's a surreal moment. It's amazing. Like I'm ready to go though. Like, but at the end of the day, it's all about accountability. I have to be accountable for him, the team, everybody, right? So like with all that said and done, like I still got to come to work. I still had to put the work in. Like you can see Julio with the Bucs, we got Mike, we got Tom, but we all got to put the work in though. It's nothing, nobody's going to give us anything, so we just got to come out here and work each and every day. And that's all it's about.
And we didn't get to the part where he said that basically he doesn't care if Mike Evans gets 15 catches and he gets 0 if they want him to block every play. Doesn't matter. He just wants to win. And that's quintessential Julio Jones. That's the guy I know and covered for 2 years in Atlanta. And, he's soft-spoken, but I mean, I remember it for 4 or 5 years, folks, he was the best receiver in the league and easily a Hall of Famer. And at 33 years old, if he's completely healthy and he can stay healthy, I mean, I'm not saying that this is a guy that's going to have a 1,000-yard season, but he doesn't need to have a 1,000-yard season when you have Godwin, and Gage, and Evans. I mean, it's just an embarrassment of riches. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, being out there today, one of the things that caught my eye was Kyle Rudolph, not just because he was wearing a singular number 8, which is kind of cool for a tight end, right? He runs well. He runs really, really well. He didn't look like, what is he? I think he's 33 as well, right? I think. He didn't look 33. He looked young and spry. Cade Otton, by the way, the 4th-round draft pick, also looks like a very down the tight end. They got to be very pleased with him coming in healthy as well. He had an ankle injury, but is clear to go. Chris Godwin was not out there this morning that I saw, at least in the early part, but he's cleared to practice. So it's very. And we're still 2 months away from the first game. I don't think there's any reason that Chris Godwin can't start the season playing. But and can you imagine? You got Mike Evans, who's a Hall of Famer, Julio Jones, who's a Hall of Famer, and Mike Evans is in his prime. You got Chris Godwin, who's definitely in his prime, and I believe that he can put up numbers that will make him a perennial All-Pro. Whether it's hard to get to the Hall of Fame as a receiver. There's so many big number players. You got to have great longevity. There's so much to it, but he certainly has the capability to do it. There's no question about it. But I think he's the top 5 receiver in the game, and I put Mike Evans in there as well, certainly in the top 10. And if you get a healthy Julio and Russell Gage, who's completely underrated, my God. And you talk about Kyle Rudolph, Cameron Braid, who's before Gronk got here was one of the best red zone tight ends in the game. They're freaking loaded. They're freaking loaded, folks, and it's going to be fun to watch. All right, our thanks to John Gerber, who joined us, Scott Carter as well, who brought us up to date on college football and Florida Gators. We'll be chatting lots of college football the rest of the week, and obviously college football season coming up. So I know there's not a lot of that talk around here, so we'll give you all you need in that realm. All right, have a great day, everybody. Go Rays tonight. We'll talk to you tomorrow.